Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Bhakti Swami Prabhupada ki. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Kokishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki. Srila Rup Sanatana Bhatta Ragana Shri Jeev Shri Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Nam Chaya Das Thakur ki. Nam Yagya ki. Hari Nam Sankirtan ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Mayapur Dham ki. Ganga Devi ki. Yamuna Devi ki. Shri Radha Madhavasta Saki Vrinda ki. Shri Mayapur Chandradoy ki. Balaram Simha Devi ki. Shri Panchatattva ki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Tulasi Maharani ki. Srimati Vrinda Devi ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Gopremanande. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shri Guru and Shri Ganga. Oh, glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pacharane Nivasesha Sunyavari Bhaskacha Rezatane Panchakopatu Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanedyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 26, texts 53, 54, and 55. in the matter of the fundamental principles of material nature. Granad Vayu Abhijaitam Akshini Chakshu Etayo Tasmat Suyo Nabijetam Karano Shotram Tato Disha Vayu Abhijetam Akshina Chakshu Etayo Tasmat Suyo Nabijetam Shtotam Tato Disha. Ladies? Granat, from the olfactory senses. Vayu, the wind god. Abhijaitam, appeared. Akshini, the two eyes. Chakshu, the sense of sight. Etayo, in them. Tasmat, from that. Surya, the sun god. Nabi Jaitam, appeared. Kano, the two ears. Shotram, the auditory sense. Tata, from that. Disa, the deities presiding over the directions. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Virat Purusha, situated himself in that golden egg, which was lying on the water, and he divided it into many departments. First of all, a mouth appeared in him, and then came forth the organ of speech, and with it the fire god, the deity who presides over the organ. Then a pair of nostrils appeared, and in them appeared the olfactory sense, as well as prana, the vital air. In the wake of the olfactory sense came the wind god, who presides over that sense. Thereafter a pair of eyes appeared in the universal form, and in them the sense of sight. In the wake of his sense came the sun god, who presided over it. Next there appeared in him a pair of ears, and in them the auditory sense, and in its wake the devatas, or the deities who preside over the directions. Please repeat. In the wake of the olfactory sense came the wind god, who presides over the senses. That sense. Thereafter a pair of eyes appeared in the universal form, and in them the sense of sight. In the wake of this sense came the sun god. Why did he turn the speaker off? Why did he turn it practically off? If it's too low, I get the feedback and I can't think. In the wake of his sense came the sun god who presided over it. Next there appeared in him a pair of ears. Next there appeared within him a pair of ears. And in them the auditory sense. And in its wake the devatas, or the deities who preside over the directions. Purport. The appearance of different bodily parts of the Lord's universal form and the appearance of the presiding deities of those bodily parts is being described. As in the womb of a mother a child gradually grows different bodily parts, so in the universal womb, the universal form of the Lord gives rise to the creation of various paraphernalia. The senses appear, and over each of them there is a presiding deity. It is corroborated by this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam and also by Brahma Samhita that the sun appeared after the appearance of the eyes of the universal form of the Lord. The sun is dependent on the eyes of the universal form of the Lord. The Brahma Samhita also says that the sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yat chaksho eva samvit. Samvit means the sun. The sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, everything is created by the universal body of the Supreme Godhead. Material nature is simply the supplier of materials. The creation is actually done by the Supreme Lord, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Mayad yakshena prakrita. Under my direction does material nature create all moving and non-moving objects in the cosmic creation. Translation. In the wake of the olfactory sense came the wind god, who presides over that sense. Thereafter a pair of eyes appeared in the universal form, and in them the sense of sight. In the wake of this sense came the sun god, who presides over it. Next there appeared in him a pair of ears, and in them the auditory sense, and in its wake the devatas, or the deities who preside over the directions. Yeah, Krishna, son of Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, the lover of the gopis, the friend of the cowherd boys, protector of the cows, the original personality of Godhead, from whom all other forms of the personality of Godhead have expanded from. That is, Krishna has a beautiful blackish body. He has beautiful curly black hair, and he has beautiful lotus eyes. From Krishna, everything else is resting. Krishna is the center of everything. Everyone in Goloka has only one desire, that is to satisfy Krishna. No other desire. When Krishna moves from forest to forest, looking after the cows, as he leaves one forest, the forest itself becomes so sad that all the flowers, the trees, the grass, it all dries up in a mood of great separation. And as Krishna starts to enter into the next forest, that forest becomes alive in jubilation. All the flowers start blooming, all the birds and the bees, they start singing. This is the mood of the devotees of Krishna. When they have Krishna, when they can serve Krishna, then they're full of jubilation. And when that service to Krishna enters into a mood of separation, when they can't see Krishna, then they dry up completely. Not only the residents of Vrindavan, but all of the various residents of the spiritual world, including the expansions of Krishna, the various Narayans, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, they're all anxious to satisfy Krishna. Some of the residents of the spiritual world are not fully aware that their service is ultimately to satisfy Krishna. They see different forms of the personality of Godhead, who in turn are anxious to satisfy Krishna. They're anxious to protect Krishna's abode, that no one can disturb his pastimes there, which are full of unmotivated love. So though many devotees may rise up to Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, Dwarka, or Mathura, if they don't have that mood of selfless love, pure love for Krishna, as is held by the Brijabasis, then they're not allowed to proceed in the direction of Vrindavan. They're able to serve in one of the other abodes. And if by great fortune they get the association of a personality who has unadulterated love for Krishna, unmotivated love for Krishna, then they can rise up higher and maybe even be able to enter into the Vrindavan pastimes. So it is not something cheap. It is something which demands complete and absolute surrender. It's nothing to do with the surrendering of attachments of this body, of the misidentification of this body. It's something to do with wanting to surrender our very desires to satisfy the senses of Krishna, and putting that above even attaining personal liberation, similar form of the Lord, similar opulences, even desiring to live in the same abode as the Lord. These are all forms of personal liberation which Srila Rupa Goswami has pointed out that we're not interested in. They can stop the advancement of devotional service. We simply need to develop that pure desire to satisfy Krishna. And this comes down from those persons who already have that desire. So yes, there are so many practices of devotional service, and in course of time one can gain control of his senses, one can actually understand the misidentification we've taken on in relationship to the body and the mind. But still, that will not be qualification to enter into Vrindavan. One may have even somehow got grace that in this world one is able to live in Mayapur or Vrindavan, which are non-different. But still, that is not guarantee that one can actually enter into the eternal pastimes of Radha Krishna or Gauranga. That is completely dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnavas. One gets that mercy, that causeless mercy of the Vaishnavas, simply by strongly desiring it, simply by endeavoring to satisfy the senses of the Vaishnavas. We're so much attached to satisfying our own senses that we don't have much desire to satisfy anyone else's senses, unless it brings some satisfaction to our senses. And so the deity is there, he just stands there, accepting whatever service. And the neophyte devotee is quite happy with that. He doesn't actually have to deal with a personality. He can just decide for himself, oh yeah, look how nicely I made that garland for the Lord. Actually, the Lord is not indicating whether or not he's fully satisfied with that, or what we're cooking, or what we're doing. But the practice is recommended. But until we can actually come to the platform of full desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna, first satisfying the senses of his devotees, then we cannot be sure that our service is satisfying. Of course, we can get together and praise each other, scratch each other's backs, and say how wonderful we did this service or that service, and this way satisfy each other's senses. But the fact is that until we become completely personal, until we start to develop our natural personality once again, we will not be able to personally serve. The residents of the spiritual realm outside of Vrindavan are all great devotees who have no envy towards the Lord, and yet they're not capable of giving full satisfaction to the Lord. It's not within their capability. That is only within the capability of the Brijabasis. Those persons who fully understood actually who the Lord is. Shyamasundar actually understand that this beautiful person, Shyamasundar, is the most wonderful personality. And they don't see any reason why to satisfy anyone else beyond him and his devotees. somehow, by the arrangement of Yogamaya and Leela Shakti, the abode of Vrindavan expands into Mathura, Dwarka, so many Vaikuntha planets, and Krishna expands in so many forms, and his intimate devotees, they're in Brajadam, they expand with him. In actuality, these expansions are different to the original. The proof of that being is that they're attracted to the original. Yes, they are the personality of Godhead. Yes, they are the intimate devotees of the Lord. But still, they are attracted to Krishna. And Krishna is not particularly attracted to them because they're not as attractive as him. And the devotees of Krishna, they're overwhelmed by Krishna. They're not overwhelmed by different forms of Narayan because they're not as beautiful as Krishna. They're not as sweet as Krishna. So why the expansions? Because many devotees have decided that they're not fully satisfied in the situation with Krishna. So they wish to see Krishna in a different way, not in his original form. So the Lord expands along with his intimate devotees. And those devotees are able to enter into the mood of their choice. Their choice, not Krishna's choice. They're able to see the Lord according to their mood, rather than in his original mood. So yes, the residents of Dwarka, Mathura, Vaikuntha have not attained complete perfection. There is no comparison between them and the envious conditioned souls. But there is no comparison between them and the residents of Brajadam. They don't have that unalloyed devotion of accepting Krishna as he is. Cowherd boy, the son of Yasoda Nanda. Now these expansions of the Lord and his potencies, they continue into the material world because nothing can exist without the blessings of Krishna and his potencies. Not the Vaikunthas and not the material world. So here we're seeing the description of the universal form that as he's manifested, so automatically the sun and the moon and all of the different things of the material world are manifesting along with the senses, which everyone needs to try and enjoy. And all of these senses are presided over by personalities who are ultimately empowered by the original personalities there in Brajadam. By expanding into Vaikuntha, by expanding and giving their potency here in the material world, then everything can exist. So yes, the beautiful eyes of Krishna, the lotus eyes of Krishna, he's looking on over his devotees. And by their beauty, devotees also have the power to see Krishna. And because Krishna is looking here and there, then that power is given to everyone. including those in the material world, to be able to see, to be able to smell, to be able to hear. Because this is what Krishna is doing. He's smelling, he's hearing, he's tasting, he's touching. Because he's a person. And everything else is dependent on that. That a personality is behind it. So these intricate descriptions here are simply pointing to the original personality and his devotees. That yes, it's all very wonderful, but we must look beyond who is controlling and worship that personality. Surrender to that personality. Desire to attain the eternal service of that personality. Shri Krishna. Kapila Dev particularly brings one to the Shanta Bhakti platform, from where one can actually start devotional service. Of course, it's not restricted. Kapila Dev is not in Shanta himself. Devahuti is not in Shanta Bhakti herself. She's proven by her love and relationship with Kapila as her son. Kapila being the personality of Godhead. So we can see this relationship there. But still, Kapila is the person who brings us to that level of devotional service where one is free from the influence of the modes of material nature. That one can actually understand that there is a personality behind everything, and that one should engage in the service of that personality. So when Kapila finishes his instructions to Devahuti, then the blessing is given. Then anyone who hears these descriptions of the talks between Devahuti and Kapila Dev is guaranteed to attain love of Godhead. Because one should have come to the platform of understanding that behind everything, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami is Govinda, the original personality of Godhead, on whom everyone else is dependent. He is breathing so everyone can breathe. He is seeing so everyone can see. He is smelling so everyone can smell. He is hearing so everyone else can hear. Everyone, all of the Narayans, all of the living entities are dependent on Krishna. Whether they accept it or not really has nothing to do with the matter. Are there any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu, for a nice class. My question is, with Braj Bhakti, seems like just by being in ISKCON, we accept Prabhupada's path and we accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if we accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis, then the devotees, if they follow, then they're bound for Braj. So Like just by being there, by following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, automatically we have that attraction to Braj, or we'll go to Braj. But if one has attraction to go to Vaikuntha, and that, wouldn't he be attracted to another movement rather than this one? Well, if some people like South India, they have Aishvarya or different moods of.
Mercy is not causeless.
No, my point is, I guess I'm understanding that if you're attracted to Prabhupada and you're attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then if you follow their teachings, then Braj Bhakti is assured.
Bunch of rubbish you're speaking. Sorry. People aren't attracted. They're getting on with their life, trying to enjoy their senses. But by the causeless mercy of Prabhupada, he went out and interrupted their sense gratification and said, no, chant Hare Krishna. Take this book. Hear about Krishna. Hear about Gauranga. Wasn't destined. Yes, maybe some personalities had already developed to a certain level of devotion and came again. But in the most part, the conditioned souls were picked up by the causeless mercy. And as far as you're saying that anyone who comes in contact with Prabhupada and his movement is pretty much guaranteed to go to Braja Leela, to go to Gauranga Leela, not at all. Not at all. Depends on association. There's no guarantee. That's why we see so many people have left. Some have gone off to join Sri Sampradaya or other groups. Some have gone off to join the meat eaters. There's no guarantee. The process is given. The mercy is given. And if we stick to it, then we can develop that intense desire. 1 minute, please. The living entity is independent. He's fully independent. Yes, he's very minute, so we say his independence is minute. But in relationship to the living entity, he had complete independence to choose to serve Krishna or not to serve Krishna. So we cannot accept any philosophical conclusion which does not allow for that full independence of a living entity's choice. So he has that independence. Nobody can force him to serve Krishna. Nobody can just say, oh, it's an automatic process. He can only give all facility, all blessings. But that living entity has to change his desire to one which is totally desiring the service of Krishna. And then, yes, guaranteed. That will only come about by the mercy of those acharyas coming down from Gauranga, through Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Speak up. So what happened to Gopal Bhatta Goswami? He was absorbed in Ryan worship down there in Rangashetra, coming a long line of Sri Vaishnavas. Not only him, his uncle, his father, his mother, other family members, they all became attracted. Huh? Upon what? Becoming attracted, yes. They got to cause this mercy. There were 4 Sampradayas, but none of them were taking anyone anywhere near pure Braja love. Love in the wake of the Brajavasis. Let me finish. When Gauranga came, then he gave that opportunity. Never before was that opportunity available. We say never before because in his full form he appears so rarely. But even then, it wasn't until Srila Rupa Goswami started to distribute the pure mood of being the servant of Radha and Krishna that the real opportunity came to enter into Radha Krishna Leela. So yes, nobody naturally has that attraction. Otherwise, what are they doing here if they naturally have the attraction? What would be the need for these great personalities to appear in this world? There's regular incarnations going on. There's even a form of Lord Chaitanya which comes regularly and distributes the Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names. But pure love of Godhead, meaning Radha Madhav, that only comes once in a while, that opportunity. And that's why when Gauranga appears, all of the other forms of Godhead, they come and dance with him because they want that opportunity. All of the devotees of all the other forms of the Lord, great devotees, they come. They want that opportunity, which is unavailable to them normally. Because this is only available by the causeless mercy. Yes, one can rise up to Vaikuntha by very strictly following the regulated principles, by conquering over lust, anger and greed. One can't rise to Vrindavan pastimes. Even great personalities like Devaki, Vasudeva, Uddhav, they can't understand. Uddhav is the personal advisor to Vasudeva. And yet Nanda Maharaj said, "Oh, you speak like a foolish child. You have no understanding whatsoever about our son." This is only available by the causeless mercy. Anyone who thinks that they got natural attraction needs to reevaluate their situation, natural attraction.